So now let's start with our second session today. Our second session mainly today will be on nutrition in human beings. Correct? I'm sure all of you have been studying nutrition in human beings, especially digestion, right from class 4, right? But again, we will be doing a recap of that and in a little more structured way. Okay. As I discussed and I shared with Karthik also, that human beings have a holozoic form of nutrition. Does everyone agree with that? Does everyone agree that human beings have a holozoic form of nutrition? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, fine. So if all of you agree that we have a holozoic form of nutrition, how are you going to prove it that human beings have a holozoic form of nutrition? What are the ways to prove it? Okay, Anna, can you explain why we say that human beings have a holozoic form of nutrition? Anna.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain why do we say that human beings have a holozoic form of nutrition?
Humans can eat. I'm not.
Yeah, that's because we can ingest complex food, whole food. Just a little while back, what I said is that we can have whole food, right, through our mouth. We ingest it through our mouth, and then we have a number of organs throughout the digestive tract which will break it down into simpler food and then be absorbed by our body, right? So that is the reason why we call that human beings have a holozoic form of nutrition, right? Okay, now I'm sure all of you would be knowing that a digestive system is also called an alimentary canal. Here we'll be using the word alimentary canal, but this is basically this is basically the digestive tract. We're talking about the digestive tract. Can anybody say from where does the digestive tract begin and where does it end? Yeah, please do.
From the mouth
To the anus. To the anus. So this is the start and the end point of the digestive tract. And in between, what all organs do we have in the digestive tract, Priscilla?
Ma'am, can I tell?
Okay.
Ma'am, mouth, pharynx, esophagus.
No, not pharynx. You're mixing it up with a respiratory system. Pharynx is with respiratory system.
Okay, ma'am. Mouth, esophagus, stomach.
Correct. Yeah.
Stomach. Small intestine and large intestine.
Okay. What else? What else?
Ma'am, and the anus.
Rectum and then the anus. The pipe which passes the food from the large intestine to the anus is called the rectum, and then we have the anus. Okay, so this is about it. And in between, there are certain organs where actually food doesn't pass, but these organs help in digestion. What are these? Can anybody answer this question? There are certain organs.
Digestion.
Sorry, one by one. Yeah, tell me.
Digestive glands.
Right. So what are these digestive glands?
Should I name them, ma'am?
Yes, of course.
Ma'am, liver, pancreas, gallbladder stores the liver's produced bile, and ma'am, I think I know this one.
Yeah, so these are the three only that's there: liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. Okay, so this is all the organs that's involved in the digestive system or the alimentary canal of a human being. We are talking of only human being now, right? You can also take into consideration Homo sapiens. That is something which can be taken into consideration. Okay, now there are also certain sets of juices, which we normally call the digestive juices, right? Which we call the digestive juices, which help assist in digestion. Can somebody name a few digestive juices?
Ma'am, can I?
Yeah, Yeah, please do.
Ma'am,
Trypsin, ellipsin, trypsin, lipase, amylase, and ellipsin, I guess.
Eripsin, okay. What else?
Trypsin, lipase, amylase. That's it. Pepsin. Yeah, pepsin. Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I told all.
Okay, great. So now can you see, apart from the organs, there are certain glands also, and there are certain juices also which are responsible for the
Ma'am,
digestion.
even hydrochloric acid adds in that, right?
Excellent. Yes, I was waiting for this. Hydrochloric acid.
Pancreatic, pancreas has several, and liver has bile.
Liver has bile. Correct. These are the two most important. These are the two most important juices, digestive juices, which help or which assist in digestion. And the remaining are, basically enzymes, right? Which are little bits of enzymes which help in the digestion of, there are certain enzymes which are responsible for the breakdown of fat, certain enzymes responsible for the breakdown of protein, certain which are responsible for the breakdown of starch or complex sugar, right? So this is about it. Okay. Now we start with the first organ, that is mouth. Okay. Mouth is a, okay, Syed Nasruddin, can you please read it out? What's written? What's written along mouth? Can you read out that sentence? What is written here? The first point, mouth.
Ma'am, can I?
Mouth
Let
is
Nasruddin
a
read.
transversely slit
Slit.
and, slit and also called opening of ele-
Alimentary.
elementary canal. Mouth opens into buccal cavity.
Buccal cavity.
Buccal.
Correct. Correct. Thank you, Syed. Okay. Now, tell me one thing. Syed said that it is a transverse slit. What is the meaning of the word transverse here? Urmana? What is the meaning of transverse? Transverse means something that is straight, as in, something like, something that's, something like this, horizontal, right? So if you see scientifically, mouth is a transverse slit. It is a slit. That means it's an opening. It's a wide opening, right? And it is also the opening of the alimentary canal. As I discussed, this is the first organ which initiates the alimentary canal, right? And mouth opens into a buccal cavity. This is buccal cavity, right? Buccal cavity. What is the difference between buccal cavity and mouth? What is the difference? Who would want to answer this? What is the difference between buccal cavity and mouth?
I think my mouth is in which buccal cavity is present, and buccal cavity has salivary glands and many enzymes, I guess.
See, basically what it is. Okay, anybody else who wants to answer this?
Ma'am, can I?
Yeah, Priscilla, go ahead.
Ma'am, I think it's like mouth is just an organ which consists of all the teeth, the tongue and all. But the buccal cavity is like the opening of the mouth.
ma'am,
Yeah, tell me.
ma'am, I think that buccal cavity is that it contains the mouth, the salivary glands, but the mouth is only a simple the opening, but the buccal cavity contains that.
Correct. Basically, that is what it is. Basically, mouth is just, when we say it's kind of an opening, right? When we say mouth, it has certain parts of it, but in science, it is basically just the opening, just a part, organ. Buccal cavity actually contains all the salivary glands, the teeth, the tongue, as in all the organs which are involved in the process of cavity. What is the meaning of cavity? Cavity means a hole, right? And here buccal cavity means a hole where all the important organs are present. That's a buccal cavity. Correct. So mouth in science with regards to the digestive system, it is just an opening, right? So this, the mouth is the first part, and second it goes to the buccal cavity. Okay. Now please ignore the spelling of buccal here. Buccal spelling would be B-U-C-C-A-L, right? Buccal cavity. So buccal cavity, mouth opens into a cavity. As I said, cavity means a hole. Okay. Cavity means a wide, hole or something. All right. So basically, which contains the teeth, the tongue, the salivary glands, right? The salivary glands secrete saliva, which contains salivary amylase, which is an enzyme which many of you have shared, and converts the starch into simple sugar. Okay, the first digestion, we think that the digestion only begins in the stomach, but that's a misnomer. That's a wrong information that we have. The first process of digestion actually starts in the mouth.
Yes, ma'am.
It happens in the, actually we should say it happens in the mouth or in the buccal cavity. So what happens inside the buccal cavity? Inside the buccal cavity, starch is converted to simple sugar.
Ma'am, mine is, ma'am.
I think so. It is glucose here.
Ma'am, can I once check, because in my last year textbook I want it's there.
Yeah, please to check. Please to check. Okay, so basically it's actually, simple sugars are of many types. There are many types of simple sugars possible. Glucose is one of them. There is galactose, there is fructose. There are several kinds of simple sugars. So fructose, glucose, galactose, anything it could be, but it basically converts starch to simple sugar. For example, if you're having bread, right? in in your buccal cavity, basically you are first with the help of your what do you say, with your front teeth, you're actually tearing the bread, right? And then after that, with your premolars, molars, you're chewing it, and all this happens so fast. In the meantime, your salivary glands are ready with salivary amylase, the enzyme, so that the pieces of bread, the small pieces that you chew, it can break down those pieces of bread into simple sugars. In case of bread, it will be glucose, right? So it could be the simple sugars. Let me just delete this and then create
Ma'am,
it once more. Yes.
it says that starch in the presence of salivary amylase converts it to maltose.
Okay, all right, okay. Could be, I'm not aware if it is maltose, but I'm sure it converts to simple sugar. All right, okay. I will have to check that and get back to you in your next class, right? But
Ma'am, I just checked it right now. The textbook is just next to me.
okay, all right. So I take that into consideration then. Okay, so basically it will convert starch to simple sugars. This is what happens. This is what is done by salivary amylase. All right. So this is the first process of digestion happens in our mouth. That is the buccal cavity. Now moving on to the teeth. Teeth are hard structures which are held in sockets of the jaws, which cut, chew, and break food into smaller pieces. Teeth needs no new introduction. All of us are aware of the teeth, and I'm sure all of you know, the four
Ma'am?
different types of, yes.
Ma'am, in the beginning you said pharynx is not there in the alimentary canal, but here it says so.
It's not a part of the digestive system. It is a part of the respiratory system.
Ma'am, but it is a common, it leads to the trachea and the esophagus, right?
Right. So that is basically, a part which is not a part of the digestive system. It is present, but it is not per se a part of the digestive system. Why I will say, because it's a common thing where it leads to either a food pipe or the windpipe. Right. That's why they say, when we eat food and the food gets stuck, they say, you have to, many times we cough it out, because by mistake it goes to the windpipe, which leads to the yeah, the lungs, you know.
So I was asking that, ma'am, then why do they say that we should not talk while eating?
See, that's what, you know, because what happens is that when you eat, right, and when you're talking, what happens is that, you know, the food would get confused whether it should go to the food pipe or should it go to the windpipe. When you're talking, normally what happens when we eat, you know, it's being made into smaller pieces, then a bolus is formed, it's rolled into a ball, and then very systematically the tongue rolls it to the food pipe, right? Because if you see continuously when we are eating also we are inhaling, right? So all the air that we are taking in through our nose is also leading to the through a common passage, and then it's leading to the windpipe, which goes to the lungs, but our food pipe goes to the esophagus and stomach and so and so. So there's a very thin line of difference, or there's a part which is common. So many times what happens is that you would find that when you drink water and you're laughing, you know, water comes out through your nose. Why does this happen? Because of that common passageway between the food pipe and the windpipe. There is a common passage. So if you talk, instead of the food pipe, the food by mistake can go to the windpipe, which is dangerous. That is when people get choked. We actually we were not studying anything from the session. We were just discussing off the session. We were discussing why and how food goes into our windpipe when we talk. When we eat, they say we should not talk, we should not sing or laugh. What is the reason? Because by mistake it goes to the windpipe, and that is when we cough. Coughing is a very voluntary process by which the food comes out from the windpipe. That is a very voluntary process. Many a times if the food really goes too deep inside the windpipe, that is when, you know, people get choked. They are unable to take in the breathing. The oxygen doesn't reach the lungs, and that is when they are unable to breathe and they choke many times to death. Okay, so we have to be very careful when we eat. We should only eat, not talk, sing, laugh, whatever. Now coming to the tongue, tongue is the organ used to taste. Okay, before that, you know, who will tell me the 4 types of teeth? Bhavya, Rana, can you?
Miss Molars,
Yes, molars.
premolars, canines,
Yes, and which is the ekdam front teeth that you're missing, with which we cut. That is the most important one, जो सबसे सामने रहता है. Yes, Anna, it's incisors. Incisors.
incisors.
Okay, Bhavya, it is incisors.
Okay, miss.
Okay, so these are the 4 type of teeth. Also, Anna, can you please explain how are incisors used and what is incisors used for?
Ma'am,
incisors are used for?
Ma'am, they are used for cutting down.
Very good. Cutting down, like for example, cutting or eating an apple, right? While eating a banana, so it's basically for cutting. Bhavya Kriti, why are canines used, and how are canines used?
Ma'am, canines are used to tear the food, ma'am, and yeah, canines are used to tear the food. That's why they are present at the front, but the corners of the jaws.
Correct. So basically, when the food is a little hard, for example, when it is flesh, when it's chicken, mutton, you know, and you really need to tear the food, that is when the canines are used. And you know, if you see cats, tigers, you know, lion, they eat a lot of raw flesh. That's the reason why most of the teeth are canines. Okay. Karthik, can you tell me why premolars are used?
Ma'am, it is used to crush and grind food.
Tearing and crushing. A little more further, more tearing. A little more harder. For example, if the piece of mutton is a little more hard, then we use the premolars. But mainly, yeah, Priscilla?
My ma'am said that the premolars are used for cracking nuts.
Yeah, it is also used for cracking. It is also used for cracking. See, there is a very thin line of difference again between molars and premolars. Premolars, basically what do the molars do? जो सबसे पीछे रहता है, molars basically grind. They make it to fine paste, not fine paste, but very small pieces, right? Whatever premolars cannot do, the molars do. Yeah, you can also crack nuts, but that's not the only reason why premolars are used. Premolars are also used for tearing, cracking, and crushing. Bolus, Priscilla, bolus is basically a small ball of food which is together being formed by the help of with the help of a tongue also. Tongue rolls the bolus back into the back into the food pipe. Okay, so now that we are clear about the types of teeth,